jump in. Welcome back. Number one, we're down one player tonight, but we do have Joe, Scott, and Andrew here. So Fenwarden, Rekla, and Valdarius will be picking it up in tonight's action. And I think maybe we should probably do a recap for everyone's benefit here. If anyone would like to take a stab at some of last session's transpirings, I can move our map as well to help this one. So we had left off, I think the session before last, you were all here in the fort and picked up last session where you were basically, you started to clear out and look for remnants of other soldiers. You cleared them out. There was a little bit of a fight there where the owlbear was still alive. I think that's where the session before was, but then we picked up, and last session you went and investigated underneath the Stag Lord's bed.
Yep, Fenwarden had returned with two of our kobolds, ops prisoner that wilderness, gave him a bit of food, took his medallion and his dagger, and said, made me feel fuzzy about myself at least. We found, oh yeah, that's when we went down in basement. Stag Lords were being warned not to, and we might have wanted to have listened to that, as it turned out, because Negrah, Stag Lord's father, skittering around on the ceiling. Insect.
Lovely.
And, oh, yes. Very, very fun.
Yeah, and then he summoned a helper as well, so we had our hands pretty full.
A giant
Really
ant.
large ant. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And oh boy, that wanted some of your friend Valdarius. And it got some of him.
Yes.
But luckily with a, yep, that's the guy. Right there. Here, Dalla was able to cleave the Negrah's head in, timed critical there, to alleviate one of the threats. Taking ant.
Here's Negrah.
Yep. He was wearing a symbol of Gazra.
Yeah, he was not happy with us. In the end, it's a good thing we got the critical hit on that, because he was taking us to task. It's very hard to hit. And
hit really hard. Shrugged awful.
The ant changed things too, because that was really taking some of you out and helping him, so he didn't have to endure
I think
much.
it was Fenwarden and Valdarius who were separated, dealing with the ant, and Dalit was fighting Negrah.
Yeah, that's what it was. And he was taking a lot. You were taking a lot. So yeah, there was
touch and go there for a moment. Down to some single digits.
Yeah, so I think it was after that you all had received a message from Brevoy, and Lady Jamandi Aldori had sent her congratulations to the party that word had reached Brevoy that you had overtaken the Stag Lord, and that they were basically saying, good first step, but how about doing one more thing for me? And they gave you a list of some other things that you may have to choose from, and they asked that you may accomplish at least one more of those things before you return to Brevoy. So I think that list of things are noted. There's a handout for her letter, I believe. I'll find it.
Or honeydew.
So it's this one, if you can see that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you get through all the pomp and circumstance kind of stuff at the beginning, you can skip down to the 3 numbered items that she's calling attention to. And those are, if we zoom out now and look at the big picture on the map, we can see those are way further south of where you are currently. You guys are up here at Fort Sorrenco in that vicinity. The old Sycamore and Soot Scale mines are as far south as you've been, and where she's asking you to go is down the Shrike River towards the Lonely Barrow, the Candlemere Island, and Forgotten Keep to look at these things and investigate them further. So that's the range of where you're thinking of heading after this. But
Mhm.
first, Oleg wants to return home and check on Svetlana, and that was the pressing matter. So he is able to help steer a cart, which you have connected to a couple of horses, and you have another horse in front. So you've got a total of 3 horses, 2 pulling the cart, and 1 Fenwarden is riding out in front of the group when you departed the fort. And anything else that you guys did inside the fort that you wanted to mention? I think you had thrown all the bodies and
Yeah, we put all the bodies in Beaky's pen, so that way they were just out. And then we had put all of the treasure that we had found, all of the goods, all of the and we put that down into the basement. I resecured them. So because we found where it came out, so that way we
treasure
could
being the
return.
yeah, the weapons. We didn't want the weapons to lay around in the fort so they could be used to defend it against us. If we came back and needed to get back in there and somebody else had moved in, we didn't want them to have all the weapons.
Yeah.
So all the weapons, all of the trade goods that we taking Oleg's with put down into the fort without needing to once again.
Yeah, one last note on Negrah. He had these little pathways, these small little crawling pathways that his large ant came out of. And you would imagine him being the way he was, he could have probably used those tunnels. And so you think he would have been the one that you tied back to the ritual that you saw in the Eastern Bandit camp, or at least the one that you had heard of.
Yeah.
And now you understand there to be these little small crawl walkways that reach this bottom layer, and they wouldn't be easily traversed even for Rekla in his current state, but if he were a little smaller, he could probably get through them pretty well.
Okay.
So there's that sort of mystery of how they're getting in and where those exits lead to, but for the most part, you've stomped out the threat.
Yeah, it's kind of things. If we were really pressed, we could find somebody to go in there for us or something like that if we needed to. It'd have to be like a hobbit or something. I don't know what.
Well, kobolds maybe.
Maybe.
I think the other couple things were that Lady Jamandi is wanting you guys to use the fort as a positional advantage, and now here you guys have to abandon the fort completely, pretty much, and that's part of the issue right now is that you've completely abandoned the fort. You don't know what's going to happen to it while you're away.
As we sent the messenger back with a request to send some troops down. Right?
Yeah.
Right, put a garrison there. Yeah.
So that way we'd have something there, because eventually we're gonna have to go to interact with the kobolds and see what's gonna happen to them. Geo.
I wouldn't be surprised if Lady Jamandi or whoever's in charge of the military would have just automatically sent scouts to hearing of a defeat of the Stag Lord.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see when we get back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the merchants will also be grateful. As you can tell, Oleg and others would stand to profit.
Ephraim, a merchant from Brevoy, who we ended up sharing camp with. He had with moving beasts.
Yeah, Ephraim. Yeah, he gave us some supplies and cash.
Gave us a bag of gold.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's great.
So, like, the news is broke that you've cleaned the streets to some extent. Yeah.
And those mean streets.
Okay, so we're going to escort Oleg back to the trading post and then head south. I guess that's a rough plan.
Yeah, it was getting Oleg back over there and then seeing what was Fort situation was going to be when we
He
came back through.
he's obviously focused on getting back as fast as he can, and I think one of the things that he offered was to try to see if he couldn't get people to volunteer and help man the fort, find
Oh,
other interested, and get some type of faction working for you all that he could help rouse up either on the way or when you get there. So yeah, I think that's where we left off. And one thing I'll mention is that Oleg is going to insist on bringing the Stag Lord's remains with you. And he assures you that it's necessary. So he will have wrapped and brought whatever remains the owlbear left of our Stag Lord friends.
Probably mostly just the head. It's probably ate just about everything else.
He disembowels is the feat. I guess that's maybe preserving it, if anything, by helping
how do
to
you lighter?
disembowel it.
That would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where we were, and you guys were on the road. I switched Rekla out for where Dalit was on our roadway map that I'll switch us to. And let's see. I guess it would be this one. Is this right? Yeah. So I turned us here. You're going westward, and you can see the arrangement. That's something we didn't mention, is there are the 3 kobolds came with you. So you've got them, and
Right.
I've added them to the party list. So you guys should
Okay.
be able to everyone should be able to edit their sheet and control them. I'll let you guys play them in battle if you each want to pick one and play that one in battle. Something along those lines, unless someone else wants to do it differently. And then the riding horse is in there as well, so at least you can see its stats and stuff.
Cool.
Right.
All right, so you're headed out, and I think, what was it? What was the plan for you guys? You were leaving in the morning, right? Like you rested, and then the next morning you left from the fort, I believe, and you started out that next day. Yeah, that's what I recall. So the first day, and the way that the movement would work is your slowest member determines your speed. And a horse travels 40 feet regularly. So these 2 horses that are pulling your wagon, I'm going to say that they're moving about 25 feet instead of 40. So that's going to dictate how many activities you have for travel. And
It was during the course of our travel that we met Ephraim.
that's right. Yep. Yep.
I think we had ended where we were just pushing off through travel.
Yeah. So it was like the
It was
following.
like our first day.
Yeah, you had one successful night already. Yeah, you're right. Okay, let me find the NPC sheet. Okay. Yeah, so I think what's happened then is you've broken camp that following morning. I think you guys were going separate directions, and so you would have parted ways from camp that following day and continued your journey westward. And that's where on the map I wanted to pull you guys back to. On here, you come to something that you now I think have heard Oleg mentioning, and maybe you've heard others talking about a place called Nettles Crossing. And in times of when the weather is wet, it creates some runoff from some of the higher elevations and creates like a flash flood kind of river. And when you pass this area, if the river has raised, then there is a spirit that sometimes is seen in the river. And this is something that Oleg would know a lot about, but you all don't, because you didn't travel through this place before. You actually cut through the plains when you were going
Mm.
this direction. So you hadn't seen it when you came through coming eastward last, but Oleg brings you up to speed about it, and so you've heard about it firsthand from him, that he's rarely encountered problems crossing, but if the water is up, that it would be difficult for the horses and the cart to get across, that you'd either have to go up river or wait for it to subside and such. So that's where I'm going to have you guys do a weather roll. If maybe Scott, if you'd like to go in and do on the collection tab at the bottom, there should be a weather roll. And if you can hit that, we'll see what the weather is like. So
Windstorm.
windstorm is in order, and I think what we're going to figure out here is would there have been any precipitation going along with this windstorm. So I guess just roll a d20. And okay, so I'm going to say that there's really not a lot of precipitation going with this windstorm, but there is some. And as you're heading north, it's getting darker here on your second day. You've had a full day's travel, and the way you guys can move now is 25 feet is what your horse gives you. That's what I was trying to pull up, is the Hexploration rule. 1 second.
Real quick, was it Nettles Crossing, like a stinging nettle?
Yes.
Or was it Nettles Crossing?
Yeah,
Nettles
Nettles.
Crossing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so you have to basically use your action. You get 1 activity per day because of your speed as a group, and you have to use that for travel if you're trying to change your hex that you're in. So basically throughout the day you would make it through from one hex to the next. And on this day, as I said, it's been windy and it's been blowing in your face all day, but you haven't run into anything that's caught your eye, and you've been able to make it to the point that it's evening and you've passed through another one of these hexes. So that means we would do your camping activities next.
Okay.
And let me just find it. That one.
I think we're doing good on ingredients at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
We don't have Ben to stash or camouflage, so somebody else could try that.
That's to hide the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to be trained in stealth. If you're trained in stealth, you can try to conceal the site, which gives you guys an advantage during the night for encounters.
Fenwarden is not trained in stealth.
I am not.
Valdarius is trained in.
Ah.
There we
He
go.
could take. Not great. Trained at least.
Yeah.
What are the other? We would try.
Fenwarden's going to try to organize the watch.
And I was thinking cooking a basic meal.
All right. Let's see then. Let me move.
And I can maybe cast guidance. Can cast guidance for the camouflage? Or does it have to be, since we're in camping mode, does it have to be lend aid
Provide aid.
Yeah.
or provide aid?
Yeah, I think you're having to use your time and effort to do it more so than it being, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, I'll stick with cooking a meal.
Okay, so yeah, we can just, I guess, start with the stealth check for Valdarius, and it's a DC 16 for this area. It's not terribly hard, but yeah, it's
We'll see. Here
Yeah.
we go.
there you
Yeah.
go.
All right.
All right, Valdarius.
Nice.
The way that you put those bushes up there, that's brilliant. I never would have thought of that.
2 little branches just there and just block the entire thing. Yes.
So you've
Gotta
been
know your sight lines.
Like a hedge. That's awesome.
you've
Right.
been resourceful. You've found a way to obscure at least the obvious of your campsite.
Big cardboard cutout of just a couple. Doesn't cover the backside, but anything on that road, we're safe.
Okay,
I like
that's
that.
not
Maybe
what-
it's just a sign that says nothing to see here.
This is not the campsite you're
It
looking
would
for.
do that. All right. So that means yours has been successful. Fenwarden, you were organizing watch, right? So that's
Oh, you watch. Not so good.
not so good. But I think, let's see what the way that reads. It's
A failure doesn't hurt anything. I'm going
right.
to do a failure.
Yeah, failure doesn't really, it just doesn't give you a bonus if you should
Right.
kind of counter something. So, all right. And then our cook,
Yeah, let me see
what are you
which.
making?
Yeah, I was
What's on
gonna
the
pull up
menu
our
this
cookbook.
evening?
I think we just had Stag Lord stew, right? And then no, you all just had the Brevoy board, which
Yes,
was the
exactly.
okay.
I think we had Stag Lord stew before that.
Yeah.
From
So we've still got back in the backlog of the cookbook the bandit kebabs or the kobold casserole. Or we could do the cooked berry crumble. What are we feeling like?
The cobalt casserole for a long time.
yeah, I think it's been a
Yeah.
while since we've had some kobold.
Yeah.
We got a surplus of kobolds that we could put.
I was gonna say the kobolds that are still with us might enjoy it, but that's
Maybe they still would.
Yeah, there's so few of them, they'll just do it to keep their spirits up.
all right. So we're going for kobold casserole, and I got to do a survival.
All right. Okay. And then I think what I'll do is I'll have Oleg tell a campfire story. And he is going to.
And the kobolds do anything if they're.
I think that they could do. They could probably hunt and gather if you wanted them to do
Or
that.
lend aid.
But they would have to work
Because
together on whatever task
Provide
it is.
aid.
the survival for cooking, I think, isn't that a 22?
Let's see. Cook.
I don't
Cook
think.
basic meal.
I thought it was like.
Yes, it does say
DC
attempt
22
a DC
survival
22
with the
survival
18
check
cooking
or
lore
a
on the
DC
wing.
18 cooking lore check.
So if we could have one of the kobolds try to lend aid, that one of the junior chefs over there,
Yeah,
sous chef.
that's a good idea. Yeah. So
Yeah,
if
then we could get a bonus off of it.
if you want to try a survival check off of one of the kobold character sheets, see if you can roll it. And I guess he would just have to make. What would he have to make to get to successfully give aid? It doesn't have to be 22. I'd say for him, I guess it's because it's 16 for the other difficulty checks. So I would say if, with 16 you would get a +1. Anybody able to?
Yeah, I opened up his character sheet.
It may. I don't know how this one's set up. Let's see if it's
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's like a.
It's a creature character sheet, so it doesn't have like
right.
the skills that I see are acrobatics, crafting, and
Survival? No survival?
survival. What's that? Survival.
Not survival, no. I didn't see regular saving throws on it.
I guess, yeah, you might be limited by that. I thought that they
Just
would
do a
have survival.
Wisdom.
Maybe it's the scout that
roll
has
check?
survival.
He's got acrobatic, crafting, and stealth. But that's
Yeah,
it.
it's the scout.
These are the warriors. So
The scout.
Okay.
The
You
scout
got
has.
the wrong guy for that. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But
So,
also says provide aid is attempt a skill check of a type decided by the GM. Technically, if they're just helping me organize while I'm cooking, like a sous chef would, they don't have to do a survival. They have to
yeah,
do
I buy
a
that.
crafting.
Do crafting.
Right.
I'd say crafting is totally in play with what you're just giving him ingredients and instructions, so it's nothing.
Yeah, like hey, cut up that carrot for me.
If you
He
if you
has
can
to
craft.
cut up carrots. Oh,
However,
maybe not.
it didn't work.
Wait, you said they had to two of them had to help, so maybe the other guy could offset.
If you want to, yeah, if you want to roll for each one, I'll take 2 out of 3 if you get 2 out of 3.
All right.
But that's definitely what they'll have to focus on.
All right, so that's a no.
Yeah.
All right, we tried.
Yeah, it was worth
So
it.
it's
It was
just
worth it.
it's just food now. It doesn't have any special abilities.
All right.
Okay. No worries. Let's see how Oleg does on his little roll as well. He's telling a story. I'm gonna see if you guys get any benefit from this. And then what will be your watch order?
Valdarius will offer to go first.
Yeah, Rekla will take the dark of night, the darkest shift.
And Fenwarden can go last, and why don't we each have is 3 watches enough?
If we make them like
It's supposed to be
4 hours.
Yeah, as long as you cover 8 hours total, you can divide it up however you want, but you have to
Yeah.
get 8 hours of rest, of downtime.
Right. So if we do 4-hour watches, everybody will get 8 hours of sleep.
I just think we should each have a kobold with us when we're on watch. So,
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's either that or we all just take 2 hours if the kobolds are 2.
yeah, I'm not that confident in the kobold.
Yeah. They can't get up parrots, guys. All right.
We needed to dress it up like an owl bear. If they were dressed up like an owl bear, those spears of theirs.
Right. Oleg made a successful check on his campfire story. And so you guys will all have a +1. Let's see. Yeah, you would get a +1, not a +2, because if you spend an hour relaxing while he tells the story, you would get a +2. But you'll get a +1 just for having been in vicinity of his story, where basically he talked to you about Nettles Crossing, that there was once a man who kept watch of a bridge in that region, and he taxed those that crossed the bridge, but he maintained the bridge, and eventually he had died under some mysterious circumstances, and that there was rumor that his spirit was still haunting the area where the bridge is, and that he could be reasoned with, supposedly, which is the oddity of it. So that's something that Oleg, when he's encountered this before, he's just basically talked his way through it a little bit, because he's a trader and a merchant and someone who was an ally of this person during their life. But this is the tale that he's telling you about, and this Nettles Crossing was named after him. His name was Davik Nettles. And I think that tale would be, everyone's maybe interested in it, and that's why you've got your after hearing your story. So we'll go through the watch order again. Was Valdarius, Rekla, Fenwarden, Kobold, or did I have that?
No, just the 3 of us, and each of us can have a kobold while we're on watch.
Yeah, I'll say I'll have Kurth on watch with me. That leaves Verback and Griffin.
Darius and Verback first watch.
Okay, so it's like that order. Got
I'll
it.
go with Griffin.
I'm trying to find my table.
Maybe we'll be able to surprise these guys since our campsite's hidden.
Oh, there we go. Not working. Okay, here we go. Now it's working. Yeah, so I think the first watch has gone by. It's uneventful. During the second watch, Rekla, you actually pick up on some noise. You and which?
Kurth.
Kurth, okay.
Kurth
You
is
and
the
Kurth,
thing.
yeah. So Kurth was actually the lone survivor who was inside the fort. Right. The other 2 were the ones who captured, or were keeping the captive company, and so he was the only one that saw what transpired behind the gate of the fort. Interestingly, and maybe you guys were talking a little bit about that when, both your ear and his ear caught the noise of some movement off in the shadowy brush away from you, and so he stands up slowly, holding his spear, and taking a step lightly in that direction. What do you do? Describe it as just sounding like something low in the brush that sounded like maybe 30 to 40 feet away.
Okay. Rekla he'll stealth behind him for a couple of steps just to get a little closer. So maybe you said it's about 30 feet into the brush or 30 feet into the woods.
Yeah.
I'll get about halfway. I'll go about 15 feet and see if I can get a clearer visual.
Okay.
And let me roll stealth.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Trips and falls and screams as he drives.
It's maybe just difficult to get any footing that's not on something dry.
Yeah.
So you're making some noise no matter what you do, where you move right now. You don't have a great spot to have soft footprints, but you can follow Kurth, and he takes a few steps, and you see him pointing that he sees something. And when you come and stand over his shoulder and look down, you see 4 little gremlin-looking creatures that look familiar to you.
Okay.
They look like they're trying to sneak up on your camp, and that they're hiding in a spot that your angle reveals to you. And so he's just trained, got his eye trained on it, and points it out to you
Okay.
that these Mitflits are sneaking around.
All right. I think it's time to use my signature spell.
Let's go ahead and have you roll initiative. And I'll let you go first since you got them surprised right
Are
now.
we going over to the...
Yeah, I'll move us to the
Oh, I can click on it.
roadway map too. Let's see, where is it? Which roadway do we want? Alright, so I'm just moving us back to the roadway map. We'll pull you guys back off of the roadway into a campsite just south of the road. So I'll let you decide how you want to have things arranged. And the sound that you heard of the Mitflits was coming from straight to the west.
Great West. Okay.
Yeah, south of the road.
So yeah, I would imagine we got to about there or so. He spotted it, and I'm going to. So they're in that bush-ish
These guys.
area.
Yeah, they're hiding out in the bush. They seems like they're trying to get an angle on your campsite, like they know that you're over
Yeah.
there. And they're all
I'm going to, or Rekla is going to cast Sound Burst, centered on them.
all right. Let's see.
So that,
To wake everybody else up, right?
yeah, and he'll
Okay.
say, "Sorry for the rude awakening, gentlemen."
After the clap of
Yeah.
sounds. All right, Mitflits, you've got a fighting chance here, maybe. Let's see. Basic saves, fortitude. Okay. Ooh, that is a nat 1.
Oh,
Critical failure, double damage, deafened for 1 minute.
and stunned. Wow.
Another
D6 damage.
failure. They all failed their check 2 critically. The first 2 were both critical.
Wow.
So let me get them on our map here.
That's gonna...
Pretty rude, right? Everything's nice and quiet at night.
Yeah. Here they are thinking they're super stealthy too, and they're just suddenly surprised by this blast. Okay, so the sound burst deals some heavy damage here. So what was the damage? It was
36 for the first 2, and then
Oh
9
my
for the other 2.
good
Wow.
God. Okay, so you absolutely annihilate these 2 with it. Goodness. And
They just vaporize.
the other
Yeah.
2 are immediately in serious condition. Look as if they are hanging on to a thread of life. Literally.
They
So,
move their
Nice.
foes by sound.
and I think that these 2, actually they go after Valdarius. So Valdarius, you would have been awakened by this blast,
I would hope so.
and you would have heard it generally in that direction. And so I think your actions, 1 would be to get up, and 2 might be to get your things, and maybe 3rd is head that direction. Or what are you thinking?
Yeah. Nope, it's gonna be... I'm gonna go ahead. Rouse myself, hop on up, got my hammer, and start making my way on over.
All right. Yeah, so you can move 25 feet in that direction, and get yourself going over there. All right. I think Fenwarden, you can roll initiative too. You should be able to.
Oops, that was an initiative. So. Yeah. He will get up and arm himself with his composite wand. And does he get a shot or get one more action?
Yeah, he could. He could get up, get his bow, and with his third action, take a shot. But I think what is your vision give you? What kind of distance does your vision give you? And that might be, I don't know how far away you are. Let me see. So you're 75 feet away right now in the dark. I don't know how your vision.
And he's got low light vision as an elf, but I don't know what the range on that is.
Let's see.
Find out.
Let's see. Here's my core rulebook. There it is. It says page 465 in the core. I'll double check. It says you can see in dim light as though it were bright light, but it doesn't say what the range is. That's probably something that we'd talk about as an elf, right? Depending on your elf, what his low light vision gives him.
Here's what I pulled off of eyes though.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, and we should look it up, but I'm gonna say it's probably too obstructed for you to really get a clean shot off without having to move and readjust your position a little bit, given that you're got the cart and horses and people in your way.
And Valdarius's great camouflage job.
That's right.
Your campsite again.
All right. No sweat. He'll move over to get a better angle.
Yeah.
That will be that.
All right.
Oh,
So that
wait a minute.
brings up the
Do we
Mitflits.
want to roll for the two kobolds that weren't over there?
I've got to figure out which kobold's which. Okay.
I would say you might as well roll for the V guys. And
Yeah, I'll add them in there. They would have awakened at the same time. I think you can roll those from their character sheets, so it actually.
I rolled
Okay, yeah, it did populate it for one of them.
It did.
Okay, let's make them all the same.
Here. This guy is.
Okay, but we're actually at the Mitflits' turn right now. Okay, so the Mitflits, they throw their hands up and surrender. We give up! We give up! These two remaining Mitflits, and they're just gasping and hurting pretty bad from the blast and barely hanging on. And the one kind of says to the other one, "Is it true? Did you kill the Stag Lord?"
we ended the Stag Lord's reign.
Then it was worth it just to see you.
Hero status.
I suggest you never see us again.
They'll like quickly nod and step back and limp off and not even look back if you give them that chance to.
Yep. Blood running out of their ears.
Might as well send messengers.
They're
We're here to send
wobbling
messengers.
themselves back into the grasses and the plains and out of your range then. And the other two Mitflits that were here that you killed, annihilated I should say, don't have a whole lot going on them, but they are carrying darts, 10 darts each, and a short sword each.
Might as well grab it. We need to keep the fort stocked.
Yeah.
Yes, they also have a total of 3 silver and 15 copper. So they did have a couple of coins jingling around.
I'm sorry, they each had 10 darts and then a short sword?
Yep.
How much money?
Here, I got it in there for you.
Are you doing the loot?
I'm keeping notes on mine. I can throw some into the
Okay.
in a moment.
No, yeah, I was in the loot. I didn't know if maybe we were editing it both at the same time.
We're riding each other there.
Yeah.
I'm just grabbing
We're
a
doubling
drink.
it up. Free money.
Yeah, so They died seeing their heroes, and they have confirmed what is now rumored and spreading around on the roadways. But after this, you guys, I don't know, would you be able to go to sleep after being woken up by the sound that would have rattled you?
Yeah, sorry. I was really anxious to use this spell. I hadn't used it yet, and I kind of maybe it was a bit overkill.
I think we'll be sleeping anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah,
It's like
Valdarius looks at the mess of whatever's left of the other two and can agree that it might have been overkill.
It was fun though.
now you know what it does. Now you know what it does. You're ready for prime time. All right. So they will be gone, and the rest of the evening goes uneventfully for the next watch as well. So you guys make it to morning, having only dealt with a couple of Mitflits snooping around in camp. And you're off on the next day. Let's see. I think this is actually where someone needs to take the lead to roll a survival check to help figure out how well you're traveling.
Survival's probably the Rangers' business, so I'll try that one.
So let's have also for this next day, if Joe, if you'd like to go in and roll the weather, we'll see if it's still just a windy day or something else is going on. The fog has rolled in, so visibility is low, but you're still able to move down the roadway for the most part because you've got the advantage of that. And you all start making your way, and when you get to about mid-morning, you look ahead and you see what looks like a body of water ahead of you. And this is where Oleg kind of sits up and says, Nettles Crossing. And he's now looking at the waterway in front of you, and you guys are following the roadway to where it hits the waterway now, and it looks like it's basically been washed out. The roadway has been washed where this is. I'll move the map in just a minute. But yeah, so you arrive at this bridge that looks like it's got like a rope tied between it and a small bridge on the other side, and it looks like the water is flowing pretty well at this point across it. And this is what he spoke of, is that sometimes it's so dry you can just traverse it, and other times you can't. And unfortunately, when you guys arrive here, that the depth of the water and the movement of the water is such that it'd be difficult to get your cart particularly over the water without it being pushed off and possibly getting into rocks. So it'd be a pretty difficult task, but possible if you were all trying to work on that. Maybe you could work together to try to get it across safely with a few checks. But it's now right here in front of you that you see this crossing, and he's looking out, like looking nervously out into the water in each direction, and calls out a couple times actually and says, Davik, get rid of this. Damn you. He's just calling out into the air.
Is that the spirit's name?
That's the spirit's name. Yeah,
Yes.
Davik Nettles that's who he's talking about. And that's a story he told you guys at camp and throughout the day yesterday. It was about this Davik Nettles, this old bridge watcher, basically. And that he had been basically pretty well known and liked in the area, but that he had been murdered by the Stag Lord's bandits, and that his bridge and everything that he cared for in life became destroyed after his death. And so now it's rumored that he's watching over this. You're not sure how much to believe of that. You definitely sense that Oleg isn't trying to exaggerate. He's not being. It doesn't.
Valdarius is going to believe, and Valdarius is going to go ahead suggest try to make offering or appeasement to the spirit. Have the Stag Lord. We have bare proof vengeance has been wrought, and if there's a vengeful spirit, having that opportunity would benefit us. Simple prayer,
Maybe,
offering
maybe
of verification, perhaps we can have safe passage. All set with that, I can try to invoke the spirit.
And
Mine
maybe
is sort
also
of my
making a
forte.
contribution to the bridge passage, because he used to maintain the bridge. I don't think we have any construction materials, but we could offer some coins.
I was
Or
gonna say we could even
coal.
promise in the future, because we're here to improve these lands, that we could rebuild his bridge.
Yes, we have towards medallions if you something to sacrifice.
Mm.
You're all set. Try to make an offer.
Oh, nods. That's. He says, I feared that only the Stag Lord's body would be something to get his attention. I know his hate for the Stag Lord is greater than my own.
Was that the intent on bringing the body with us for the crossing? Or is verification that the stag
I
zone?
didn't think of using it as evidence here, but more when I arrived home and we tried to raise a following for your fort. I figured the Stag Lord's remains would help us greatly to achieve that.
I'm going to go ahead and grab, Valdarius is going to grab some of those medallions. We've got go over to the water's edge, try to invoke the spirit, kneel down and prepare the medallions in front of him, call upon his own deity and the clerical powers he has, trying to speak to Davik Nettles that we have done a service to the land and we have rid the world of the Stag Lord. We humbly beseech your assistance in passage so we may spread the news, alert those of the lands who also suffered under his yoke. He has passed a new era of peace. If you will give us this opportunity, we will reestablish this bridge and maintain it for you. Take one of the medallions and toss it into the water.
Make a religion check here, Valdarius.
Do.
Oh, good job.
Okay. You toss these amulets into the water, and you feel like the water starts to swirl a little bit after you do this. Like it's the direction of the water seemed to all be flowing in one direction, and now it seems to be swirling a little bit, as if you've gotten some type of response to your question. And what would you do next as you see this change in the elements?
If there is an obvious sort of response to this that defies regular flowing of water, then I would try to beckon over my companions with the body to call out to Davik. We bring you proof that the Stag Lord is no more. Vengeance has been delivered. The land shall know of this. Ask for your mercy in our travels.
All right, let's see.
Let's ask him to lower the water, see if he'll do something for us.
How do I get rid of this bar over here? Oh, okay, there we go. So you see what appears to be this humanoid shape that starts to appear from within the water. First Valdarius, but then the rest of you see it as well. It starts to take shape, and you see this figure emerging from the waterway, and it steps forward, not really looking threatening, even though it looks threatening. It's curious, and it holds in its hand one of the amulets that you dropped into the water. And it looks up at you, and with that, I need everybody to make a fortitude save. because at this point you start to really notice this disgusting rotten stench that's in the air as it is nearish to you.
Oh, feels so good. So,
All right, so everyone but Fenwarden, it looks like. Yeah, Fenwarden, your aura and stench that's coming off of this creature, but above that, does not seem like it has any ill intent at the current time. So it stands and is staring at you, Valdarius, as you've brought the body of the Stag Lord forward. What will you be doing with it?
And lay out the body of the Stag Lord and reveal it from the wrappings that we most likely put the body in. Hanging body. Monster sitting there in the cart with us. Beckon down to it. Look upon the face of your demise. Vanquished him. We humbly beseech mercy and passing. May forth and continue to do good in these lands. No quarrel with you. I give you favor in this.
So, with that, the eyes for the first time of this creature lock eyes with yours and need you to make a will save.
Got
Nat
it.
20. So you are,
I got it.
not only are you unaffected by fear, but you're immune to it for the next 24 hours.
Nice.
So this creature, again, just has this very sort of wicked aura about it that catches you for a moment and makes you maybe feel that you need to resist that for a second, in which you have no problem doing. And and you follow through with the body, and as you're moving towards the water with the body, the sort of waves like emerge and almost looks like hands and arms that are coming out of the water and grab a hold of the body of the Stag Lord and pull it down into the water. And you see the body of Davik as well to just swell into the water around you. And as it does that, you know, like the fog that was in the air just almost lifts a little bit. It starts to get clearer, and you see the water is getting a little bit lower in the waning moments after it subsides. And I think you all sense that his spirit was like lurching after this body and the remains and looking for proof that the Stag Lord was dead, and has decided to honor your request and reward you with dry crossing. So even though the water isn't completely gone, it's passable now for all of you and your horse and your carriage.
Let's roll.
Okay.
Nice.
Respectfully, gonna get the heck out of here.
And and so now Nettles Crossing is on your list of places you've been now. So when you come back through this, you'll have now connected all of the locations between Oleg's and the fort.
Man, it's going to be hard to get another Stag Lord body.
Yes.
You do have his. I think somebody has his helmet, right? Somebody has.
Yeah, we got all of his gear.
Yeah, somebody has his iconic, and someone has.
I think it was
Fenwarden has
just-
his bow, which was pretty much what he was known for, was his bow.
Mm.
So those two things I think would carry a lot of weight for you. But yeah, I think Oleg was thinking that you were going to use the body more to recruit people, but understands that what you've just done.
We might have just recruited a powerful
Yeah.
zombie. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what the sense is once this happens, is that you feel like you might be able to obviously reason with this thing, and you've already done something pretty major for it that it would recognize, so you may have a chance, to ally with it even further. Definitely. But laying the Stag Lord's remains to rest in a tributary of the Shrike River is a part of his revenge. You've helped him fulfill his revenge against the Stag Lord, which is, again, something you'll be able to get a reward from, you would think, at some point. But let's see, what else is there? Yeah, I think the other thing that happens is you cross over the river and you look back. You look and you see a sword that washes up on the, or it's not a sword, it's actually a polearm. Kind of looks like what he was carrying in the picture.
Or whatever.
Yeah, like it's like a trident. I think this one is called a ranseur.
Okay, yeah.
And so it washes up at the water's edge as you've gotten all the way across. You notice it right before you get out of the area that this thing has washed up.
Does anyone in particular want to try it out?
I will just accept it, and then we can figure out what to do with it, but just to take it and bow, give thanks to the spirit. Super courteous and just...
I'm thinking this might be a good weapon for Dalek.
Could be.
He's got that blade of version 2.0 over there.
I don't know if he has polearm in his group or not, but if this is a really nice little weapon here. It does some good stuff, and you can disarm with this as well.
I don't think. I was gonna say maybe Rekla could. Oh no, he's a gnome. Never mind.
Fenwarden could try it out, I suppose, when he's not at range. I'll try it out until Dalek comes and see if he wants to. Lots of weapon is that thing. If I can even use that.
So yeah, you guys pick this up, and you move on with your travels. You get further down the road today to the point where you've gone into the next. You're starting to backtrack now. You know where you've been on the map, and I think you guys would start to remember, some of the little crossings and things. Oh, this is not the right map. It's this one. Yeah, I'll move you guys. You're basically within about a day and a half of Oleg's now, and it's getting dark, and you can decide if you want to press on and travel through the night to try to get it down to a lower arrival, but that will fatigue you a little bit, or if you want to do camp.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah, we can camp this one and then just push on through the next one.
I think that would be what Oleg would be thinking too, is that if you do it on the next day, then you would get there in one day, and then you would have refuge.
A place to rest.
Yeah.
We can kind of just try the same activities we did before, same watches as before.
Yeah.
Okay. Rinse and repeat on watches. Yeah, Valdarius can do the... Actually, first, you're supposed to actually
we got to do the camping activities.
You're supposed to do a survival check to find a campsite. Yeah.
Oh, find a campsite first. Yeah.
That's what we do.
All right, trying to find a campsite.
Is this something that everybody can do?
Yeah, everybody can try to do this. Everyone can try to. But it's a DC 16.
I'll give guidance to Valdarius.
All right, Valdarius. Ooh, and he needed it.
Lord,
that's beautiful. Valdarius spots finally what appears to be a place that's big enough to accommodate your growing group here, and you guys pull in and find spots for your cart, your horses, yourselves, and you get settled. So you can go ahead now and do your stealth check to try to hide it, and we'll cycle through everybody's check here, camping check. Okay, so yeah, so you feel like you've been able to once again disguise the site somewhat and get it protected from obvious view. I think Fenwarden was doing the watch, organizing watch. So that's
the perception check. Okay, trying that again. Oh my goodness. Nothing but bad rolls.
Yeah, I guess this one doesn't hurt much because this one doesn't give you any penalty for missing. It would only be on a critical miss, which that's not. So I think you can only do a critical miss on a 1 because you have a good perception. All right, but no benefit there, but at least you do figure out and get it organized again. And then last is your cooking, Rekla.
Yeah.
There you go. So
This time,
that's a big.
we really enjoy it.
Yeah, that gives.
A character who eats it gains a +1 status bonus to all savings throws until they complete their daily preparations or begin adventuring again.
All right, perfect. All right, let me see what happens to you all here through the.
While we're having that thermal remedy to get a little bit better.
Very nice. There you go. Very
Nice.
good deal. All right, so anything else anyone wants to do before the night's events? I say that as if it's a sure thing, because the random encounter table has been very frequent.
Been active.
Yes.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Move on.
All right. You guys, yeah, you guys throughout the night, you don't get the sense that there's anything creeping around this time, but it's actually during the sort of late hours where with like in the waning minutes of the last watch, which I think is Fenwarden's watch, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
You and the kobold that you're sitting next to, the sky is starting to get some light, and you look up into the sky and you see a creature or something that flies by that kind of you catch out of the corner of your eye, and it's a very odd looking shaped creature. I think what you piece together is that it has a really thick, large torso, whatever it is that passed by, and that it seemed to be fairly large, not giant, but large. And again, you just didn't get a great view of it to where you were able to stare it down long enough to say for sure what it was, but you caught the rear profile of it, and it seemed like it had wings, arching wings, and a really thick, wide torso that's all you could really make out in its silhouette. But it catches your attention, and it's basically the end of your watch and it's morning. Maybe at this point the rest of you are stirring and waking up, and nothing else seems to happen in those minutes, but everyone's waking up in the minutes after you spotted this thing.
Yeah, since it's end of watch anyway, I'll get everybody else up, and I'm going to ask the kobold Driffin if he got a better look at it. What did you see? Or if he saw it at all?
Yeah, he I guess would kind of communicate probably through Valdarius mainly. He would describe to Valdarius that it seemed like this thing had a like a head with two large ears on it that he saw that differs a little bit, but pretty much describes everything else that you saw, Fenwarden, to him.
Okay, yeah, he'll relay that over.
Yeah, okay. Fenwarden will have his bow at the ready and just kind of alert.
Do we know what direction it was headed?
So you could do I guess you could do a nature check on that, Joe, just to see if you could get a sense of where it was going. So it seemed like it was going northwest.
Okay.
Maybe not towards Oleg's. Okay, and that's nothing that he has any knowledge of. You can't identify it.
I'll say this: you're certain it wasn't a dragon.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
certain about that. You're like when you first saw this thing in the air, it was large enough that your first instinct was, "Is that a damn dragon?" And then, by the shape of it, you realized, "I don't think that's a dragon." But you didn't, beyond that, think, "Hey, it's this or that." You really couldn't
Be a
tell
very
for
awkward.
sure.
All right. Yeah. Something large flying, which could be a real challenge for us, but it seems to have flown away. So we're gonna have to hope that it didn't.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes to the
Yeah.
north as we keep traveling.
All right, and so I think this is the day that you guys are going double speed to try to cover as much ground as you can. And if I think what we could do is, Andrew, if you'll roll a weather check on the collection tab at the bottom,
Do we need another survival for hex travel?
Yeah, and we'll need one more survivor roll here to see how well
I can
you...
try that because I'm fairly trained in.
Sure. There you go. That's a good roll. Great roll. And we'll see how the weather's treating us here. Again, windy. So in this case, I guess that's not really hindering your travel much because you're on horseback for the most part. And let's see if there's anything notable that happens here before.
Make sure we down the kobolds.
Yeah.
Right. So there is a moment when you're traveling and you come across a couple of humans who are riding on horseback eastward in your direction. And as they get within view of you, Fenwarden, I think you could roll a perception check because you're out in front right now. Let's go back to the road here.
He's sharp today.
Actually woke up today. That's good.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah, that these two appear to be dressed as if they are maybe in some type of religious wear. Do you have religion?
I think so. No, not trained in religion.
But I think regardless, just because of your perception check, you can tell that they seem like they may be priests of whatever they're wearing, whatever deity they're wearing garb from, and that they are riding on horseback. They don't seem to be riding with any urgency or anything that makes you think that they're in a rush or anything along those lines. So they're just traveling at a normal speed, but you guys are traveling fast, right? Because you're trying to cover extra ground today. And as you get, closer to these gentlemen, they will like nod towards you and get out of your way if you're trying to continue to pass them. What would Fenwarden do in this situation?
He's going to stop briefly, and the cart could go ahead and go past them if we want to keep going that speed. But he's going to stop and say, "Greetings. What news from Oleg's?"
Oh, Oleg seems to have turned over to new hands. There have been some other faces we did not recognize there on our recent trip. But nice enough, we were able to stay for a day or so and get some rest from the road. Is that where you're headed?
Yes, we are going to Oleg. That's where we're going. So, how many of the new faces were there?
Oh, it seemed as if there were 4 or 5 of them, I think, that seemed to be new regulars. I don't know the arrangement. We didn't ask or pry too much. But
No, but not.
have you all seen the gnomes that came through?
We met.
They notice at that point, Rekla, that he's with your group, and I need to put you guys back on the road here, but...
We met Hennis and Trask. They were going to Oleg's.
Oh, yes, they came through. They were there the first day that we arrived, and they left that evening.
Ah, good. I'm glad that they made it and whole. Also, we're in great haste, unfortunately, but I was also wondering, have you by chance seen anything large flying about in the air? We thought we saw something, but maybe we imagined it.
There are rumors of many things that may travel around. What did this thing look like?
It was large and rather awkward looking, but it did fly with large curved wings. Maybe the size of a dragon, but certainly not a dragon.
They look at one another as if they are thinking something, but they turn to you and they act like they don't know what you're talking about.
If they are members of the cloth there, I would want to try to see if I recognize what they're bearing, or if it's a religious symbol or any kind of iconography.
Iconography.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, that's...
It didn't sound right in my head for a moment. I am trained in religion, so if I can try to roll that.
Yeah, you can roll. So you can roll religion. I would say for Joe, you could try a diplomacy check.
Yeah.
And let me see.
Yeah, on religions.
Morton does well on his diplomacy. He's trained in that.
I think Rekla was also curious about if he knows the religion. He is trained in religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may inform us as far as their motives or how they're going to act.
Let's see.
They make an obvious display when they see Rekla the gnome.
They, as soon as they saw Rekla, they asked if you'd seen other gnomes. That would have been the question that triggered when they looked at Rekla and they kind of checked him out for a second, and then they asked, "Have you seen the gnomes?"
No. I don't remember running into any gnomes. You guys remember running into any gnomes?
No, no.
Nope, and I've been looking down too.
So, let's see. Let me get you some reactions to this. So, I think first is for Fenwarden. I think that your appeal to them about asking about this creature, you sense that they have heard something, and they both eventually will crack to your prying eyes and questions about this thing and say there was another person who came to Oleg's post the night that we stayed there, speaking of a hideous looking creature that could fly that was stalking him in the night. We didn't make that much of it. We felt like he was tired and maybe exaggerating, but if this is true what you speak of, then be very cautious, because he described it as being something that had claws and fangs and other hideous features.
Good to know. We will be on watch, and you do the same.
And
We're all travelers together.
and we understand that these roads are still shifting, and that hopefully light will help guide us on our way. And that's where, Valdarius, you recognize that they are followers of Yomade, who is known as the Inheritor or the Light of the Sword, and is goddess of valor, justice, and honor. So
Okay.
you recognize them, and you recognize that as being one of the good aligned gods that would be pretty well known in the region. And so you would be the first to know that. Rekla as well. Yeah. Or I'm sorry, Rekla, you're actually the one that
Rekla.
noticed. Yeah, not Valdarius, yeah. All right. Anything else that you have that you wanted to say in passing to these two priests of Yomade? Or Yomadai? Do you brag about your conquering to inform them of your victory
Let's see about
at
telling
all?
them to leave an offering when they go past the fort. But,
Oh yeah, tell them to bless the fort as they go by.
yeah, there you go.
The fort. And so with that, that would open up the whole questions about revealing that the fort is no longer.
Let us tell you. Yeah, we just happened to clear out the Stag Lord of the fort or whatever, but just bless the fort as you go by, because it's ours now.
The road is much safer now. Yeah.
I like to think one of the kobolds is just casually wearing the Stag Lord's helm, just super irreverent, just sitting in the back, just super like askew on his head, way too big, and just kind of.
It's gonna be Kurth, right? He's the one who survived.
Yeah, so I think that you would get, as soon as they piece this together, by the way that you're revealing it to them, their faces would be they would look very intrigued and impressed by the news. And I think maybe if you guys wanted to do like a group diplomacy check with them, they may commit to contributing something, since that's what you're asking them for. Is there anything you
Yeah.
can do to help us fortify our fort that we've turned over from the bandits? So we could try that and just see how you guys roll as a group.
If we get
Consistent.
316s, it's a win, right? It's an automatic. Oh,
So I think that the fact that, given the fact that this is news to them, and they're not necessarily prepared to do anything terribly significant, they do say that we will check on the fort in passing, and on our way to Brevoy, and we will report further of your accomplishments, and we will find members of our own following who will return to ensure that the fort does not fall back into wicked hands. So it may be some time, but expect some support from the followers of Yomadai of Brevoy, and we will send them your way. And with that, we wish you safe travel for the rest of your journey, and you all are able to press on from them and
Did they
continue.
recognize Oleg?
I think they would. They would recognize Oleg. They would see that Oleg is safe, and that
Once
might
we roll up
be.
and they're just talking about
Yeah,
Oleg's
yeah, I
being
kind of.
That's
off.
true. Yeah, we
I
didn't get
whiffed
back
on the
to
fact
that.
that Oleg would ask, "What if Svetlana?
Yeah,
What if Svetlana?" Cut through all the rest of this talk,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah, that would have probably been really on in the
That's-
Yeah.
conversation.
yeah, this would have been exactly like right when you came up on Fenwarden, who was already talking to them, and I think that's when they would have looked at one another. I didn't see Svetlana, so they're like not sure how to break that to him, but they're acting as if they hadn't known that she was supposed to be there, and that they didn't
Mhm.
see her at all.
Ah. Not good. We must press on and find out.
All right, so you all press on forward, and it's. I think that my random event table might be tired of throwing Mitflits at us. And yeah, I think
Don't make Rekla break out the Thunder Crash.
It's
think-
ready. It's my signature move.
from a distance you would see Oleg's trading post, and you would see some smoke coming out from it as if it's being used, and you would ride in closer to arrive, and I think we could take maybe a mid-session break here, and when we come back we'll figure out what's going on in the trading post.
Mhm.
Good cliffhanger.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
We'll take a few. We'll be back.
All right.
All right. So you guys have now traveled pretty much all the way across the map again and back to Oleg's, where you come riding up and you see again that it is in use, and I'll have to copy you from them. 1 second, I gotta put you guys. I'll paste you guys right outside the trading post door and move you to the map. Okay, so yeah, you arrive at the trading post and the door is shut when you get there. So I guess Oleg is chomping at the bit to just kick the door open and see what's going on, but is anyone going to stop him from doing that?
Quick question. Was there any signage? Did it say Oleg's trading post on it before and now it's scratched out and it says Jimbo's or something like that?
I think like the sign has got like a big crack in it, but it's still there.
Really.
All right.
I think
I would stop him.
Yeah, I think it would be ideal. Why don't you let us go in first, just to make sure it's not dangerous, and then see if there's a misunderstanding.
Wouldn't do to have made it all this way and then find ourselves in hotter water than we can handle.
Mm-hmm.
Let's tell the kobolds to protect Oleg. We could just leave the kobolds as like his little private entourage of guards.
Yeah.
Okay. So who would like to? I guess it's just then the three of you are gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fenwarden will open the. He's going to try out that new Ren Sewer. He'll be holding that. Opens the door.
Oh, okay, I like that. All right, yeah. So, are you trying to do it with any stealth, or just trying to just do
What do
it?
you guys think? Stealth, or should we like?
They know they're open for regular trading. Like people are coming through.
Yeah.
They don't know who we are or why we're here. So I think unless somehow they do know us. I don't know.
I think bluffing our way in is going to be better than trying to sneak into a trading post, and it's never going to end well.
Okay, so we walk in casually and try to look hungry and.
Okay.
Road
Yeah.
weary.
So I'll file you guys in here, and describe to you as you enter. You hear some chattering and talking going on around the fire area, and you notice like things have been moved around a little bit, that some of the way that the goods were laid out for sale and things have been just shifted and moved, and so it definitely looks different than you remember in terms of the way the objects are laid out, but the major pieces are as you see here. And when you come in around the corner, you lock eyes with this group of four who are huddled around the fire, and none of them look particularly familiar to you. Give me a perception check, each of you guys. Yeah, I think that you get the sense that not from around here and not from Brevoy either. And so you're starting to think that maybe they're from the south, but you're not exactly sure from where they hail, but they look a little bit different to you. You just get that vibe from them is the first part that happens. And as you approach, there is a woman that stands up and says to you, "Oh, hello, travelers, looking for warmth and rest."
Among other things.
Brush himself off, like shaking off like the dust of the road. Yes, it's been quite some travel. We could use some sort of respite.
Sure, surely. What, from where do you hail?
Yes, been traveling down from Chesed.
So,
It's quite some ways.
I guess give me a deception check.
Valdarius is actually from Chesed.
Okay,
That
that's
is where he's
true.
from. So it's a white
But what-
lie. It is a distinction on because that's where he's originally come from. So
I
I will
gotcha.
roll the deception if that's.
Yeah,
but
I'll
also got that.
I think
It is misleading.
Fenwarden,
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
Fenwarden's also saying that you come from the north too, so I think this collective suspicion that they might have. So whichever one of you wants to make the roll for deception to sell the fib, I think that would be good for the role-playing aspect to see how they react.
Oh, I'm trained, but we go.
Yeah. Selling it nicely.
Did a reasonable job of selling it, yeah.
So yeah, they don't seem to inquire too much more into your broad statement that you came from the north, and it seems to just quickly you notice that they don't do as much talking as you're all coming in and filing in and everything, but Valerie says, "Oh, here, please take a seat by the fire," and she swats at this guy over here and says, "Griff, get the hell out of the way," and he moves over so that you guys can have a close place to stand near the fire, so you're able to file in this or something and check it out further.
If Fenwarden's going to say, "Oh, this place is called Oleg's. Where's Oleg? We'd like to meet him. This looks like a good establishment."
I've heard that he abandoned it. He left it for some reason, and he and his wife ran off. Maybe they struck it rich, another one says.
Oh, must have to leave such a fine establishment.
Seems a pity that the service of a trading post should be shut down just because of their wanting to travel. So we just assumed operations to keep things afloat.
Oh, that's big of you.
So you came upon an empty trading post, is what you're telling us.
We have, and one of them says, "I've been here before. I knew that we would be welcomed here, and I was surprised that they were not here, but I did not break down the door. There was already an old man sleeping here."
Oh, the old man.
He said that we were able to move in, basically. He told us that Oleg and Svetlana had run off and left, but he didn't say why.
We may have to apologize, but you've been lied to.
Are they being deceitful and deceptive, or
You
You can
do a
sense motive. Yeah, you can try a sense motive on them.
How do you sense
is that
motive?
perception?
I think
Yeah,
it's perception. Yeah.
perception versus their deception.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do that as well. Sense motive on that. I'm not gonna make him. Valdarius, I'm better though.
Been eyeing this guy up the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like you're trying to figure out if they have further knowledge of Svetlana and Oleg's whereabouts, and I think you all sense that they truly don't seem to know much about it, that they all speak about it as something that happened before they arrived, and that when the trading post was being operated or it was open, when they used it, they decided to stick around and make it their own income temporarily, possibly, right? That's what you sense about
Okay.
them.
Which is understandable. We found a populated fort and took it over, so an
Yeah.
abandoned trading post is at least slightly less murdery.
Yep.
Yeah, you
All
don't.
right.
Yeah, you don't get any distinct sense that they have any knowledge of her whereabouts. Yeah, and
And
you feel free, like you can look around. Like they don't seem like they're trying to keep you from going into any of the areas or looking through any of the doorways or anything like that. So you don't get the sense that they're like covering something up either. That's
The bodies in one room.
yeah,
Yeah.
suspicious trails of red leading into one small
I
closet.
mean,
You-
what I
Yeah, I think Rekla might want to just go get Oleg now.
Oh,
You-
yeah,
you-
Valdarius was going to ask one of them, the one who had said he'd been there before, if he could help him get someone from the cart.
yeah, yes, of course. Bring whoever that needs room and board and a warm meal. And you actually hear in this room behind you, you hear snoring coming from behind the door. So you know that there's other people there as well. And so yeah, you guys can step out and maybe step around the corner and even
Yeah, if Rekla wants to.
whatever you'd like.
If Rekla's going to go, then Valdarius would stay in there and just stay by the fire
okay.
and see if anyone's going to skedaddle or be all in a panic.
Make a move.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is let's just go ahead and introduce Oleg, get past that, and I'd like to find out more about this old man. Maybe he's got some clues what happened to.
I'm hoping maybe checking their personal quarters might give us an idea on if she packed up stuff and left, or all of her stuff's still here. We'll go get
So she
Oleg in
was hiding
that
somewhere.
direction.
Okay. Okay, yeah, so you guys can get Oleg and bring him in. What about your kobolds?
Yeah, they can come in. Yeah, I don't see why not.
They're looking for rest too. We're going to have a problem. We're going to have a problem early.
All right, yeah, so you guys can bring him in, and he is going to, like, at this point, he's looking at you guys like, what's going on?
He's Oleg. We are trying to establish what's happening. I'm going to point to the one who says he's been here before. You recognize this man?
Well, let's see, does he recognize him? Especially in his current state. Vaguely. Vaguely. He may have come through here last spring. I don't know his name.
If he doesn't stand out to you any more than that, I doubt it was a terrible interaction. Ladies, gentlemen, meet Oleg of Oleg's Trading Post.
He has returned.
Oh.
Who did not run off. Our apologies, but you were misled.
I see. You're Oleg, yes. That is him. And the one that has seen him before, like turns to the others to say, that is him. He's telling them that's him. And they're
Yes.
like, where have you been, Oleg? What? And he's just, at this point, started getting flustered, and he starts running across the open courtyard here and into this little storage room.
Fenwarden, can you accompany Oleg, please?
All is well.
Certainly faster of us. Peace,
Yeah.
friends. There will be time for explanations. A lot has transpired.
So give a diplomacy check here on this. The news being broken to them and the suddenness of this. We'll see how they react. I think that they are just shocked a little bit, obviously, but they don't seem terribly emotional about it. I think you do notice that one of them is giving the stink eye to the kobolds, though. That he doesn't, not too fond of the kobolds being here, but other than that, you don't get any other.
We will vouch for our friends there. Any past issues? We ask that they be left outside of this interaction.
This
All
guy
will be
here helped
exposed.
kill the Stag Lord. I'm gonna point to Kurth.
Oh, that may
A
be.
lot has transpired.
And I think with news of that, so the boldness to talk about the Stag Lord's death is one that would pique their interest, and one would say, so the Stag Lord is dead. And he'll notice at this point whoever's carrying the rack of the antlers, he's obviously like putting it all together that what you speak of is truth. And they, I think, at this point would be enamored with the tale. Tell us how you defeated him. We've heard rumor of him for all of.
We had some assistance from a creature named Beaky.
It
So-
is a tale worth the hearing.
Yeah.
So I think they are. Oleg runs into this storage area, and he moves a crate that's on the ground, and underneath the grate, he's able to slide a part of the flooring, and he climbs down to it, and he's like waist deep, and then he ducks down into there, and he's calling out for Svetlana, and he says, "She's not here." And this little sort of crawl area, and from there he runs into the stable, which was over here, and he says, "Claptrap is gone." And
Oh,
he comes out of the stable and screaming across towards the new inhabitants, "Was there a horse here when you arrived?" And they say, "No, there was no horse here when we arrived." And he says, "Then there is hope that she lives."
How long have they been here? How long have you been in the fort? When did you arrive in the trading post?
Oh, it'll be 10 days tomorrow.
You've been gone a long time. Also, Oleg, it's really weird that you went into the sewer to look for your wife. You want to explain that?
Why
He-
does everyone have hidden basements?
It's just this little kind of crawl area where it's pretty dirty and filthy in there, and you could tell that no one would want to stay in there for more than one night if they had to. So,
Yeah,
y-
so it's like a panic room kind of thing.
right, wasn't for a long-term stay, so it was more of that emergency hide that it fulfilled. But now it seems like she took off, and that the horse is gone, and there's been no other sign of her. And I think Oleg at this point is looking around for other clues to see if she left a note, looking to see if there's just anything else that.
Think of something that she always takes with her when she goes places if it's
Yeah, it's
gone,
certainly-
so that
Right, like
how
her
prepared she is.
her clothing, her boots, like her travel cloaks and things like that are all consistently gone. And so he's got hope that she left on her own accord.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you packed, you're not in a panic. You can be in a hurry, but you're not in a panic. But you leave things panic. So
Yeah.
things have been packed and taken.
You
And
also haven't been taken against your will.
yeah, if you have
At
time
least
to
not
pack.
hurriedly.
She may have set out to find Oleg too, right? Because he disappeared on her.
Yeah.
Now, I believe, because I wasn't part of the initial interactions with Oleg previously, when the party went through before, how did he disappear? Was that established?
No, we just found him in the Stag Lord's fort in
So
the
he had been in
cage.
there
So we had
before.
left him in good condition at the trading post after repelling an attack from the bandits.
That's the way the good guys tell the story. The way the bad guys tell the story is they slaughtered us at Oleg's trading post, and someone's got to pay. And therefore, Oleg got drug out into this whole thing by the bandits because they came looking for their crew, and when he couldn't answer and it was suspicious, they brought him. That's when you guys discovered him, pretty much. All that lined up with you took a more southerly route through the Sycamore and whatnot. So, but yeah, that's now I think like you're seeing in Oleg that at least his worst fear has not come true, and so he's got a little bit of a different demeanor. He's relieved to be home, comforted to be home, but now that he knows that she's not dead here, that he's a little bit at ease about that. But he's still obviously nervous about where she could be, and so he's trying to think through where could she have gone, and he's just talking out loud to himself a little bit, and at the same time probably just hanging his coat up in the same spot he has for 20 years and lighting and moving things back to the way they should be, just out of habit, like just force of habit here. You guys can get settled in and talk more with the inhabitants, as well as the fact that you'll all be able to partake in a cooked meal, and you'll be able to do relaxation as well, because you don't have to find a campsite, you don't have to camouflage a campsite, you don't have to forage for anything.
We could learn the meal from them too. They're
Yes.
cooking something different than we know.
That's
I want to
true.
hide the trading post.
Yeah, so I think that that maybe that would be the first thing, is that they have cooked something that smells very unique to you all, something that you're not familiar with at first glance or on first whiff. And so they're prepping and serving a meal to everyone after some hours have passed, and you guys have talked a little bit and figured out, like you said earlier, that it's more of a misunderstanding than anything as far as you can tell. And they serve to you this unusual dish, and you notice that all of the southerners seem to dig right into it without hesitation, and as you look at it, it's just an odd looking meat to you and broth that they've made. So is anyone willing to try it, or anyone have objections to it?
No,
No.
Rekla chow down.
And inquire of them what it is and how you make it.
Oh,
Sampling a little of the culinary adventures himself, Valdarius is intrigued.
do you know of the Tatzleworm? Have you ever heard of a Tatzleworm? One of us
No.
has to.
I have.
Probably not, since we're from the north.
Oh, it is a distant relative of the dragon, let's say.
Oh.
It's more of a man-sized snake,
Hmm.
and they are hissing little creatures that some treasure them as trophies, but we needed them for sustenance.
Mhm.
And we caught one, and we've been cooking it here for the last couple of days, and it's gotten better and better. So please try it. Please let us know what you think.
Fenwarden's not much of a meat eater, but he'll sample some. He doesn't want to offend them, and he's curious. Well,
Would they be a winged relative of a dragon?
Oh,
Or are they more land based?
I know not of them to have wings.
Interesting.
More of small, short-armed snakes. They do have arms, which is
Curious.
yes. Here, I'll show you guys a
The-
picture of what they're describing. I don't know if you can see this or not. But...
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, look at those adorable little arms.
Little stubbers.
Human claws.
A big head, little arms.
That kind of sliced it nicely.
You notice that Oleg actually is, as they're describing the Tatzleworms, you found a Tatzleworm. And he seems like genuinely curious about it, and he says, I have wanted one for years as a trophy here. Many travelers have spoke of them.
Mhm.
I would love to come across one. If you ever do, bring it back to the post, and I shall reward you for one.
Mhm.
And so he seems like he's actually like really curious about them and about the fact that they've seen this thing, and he seems to cherish it, or at least has heard that it's a trophy that would be a great like conversation and interest for travelers. So he's talking with them a little bit about that too as he's trying their meal.
Yeah, I'd try to piggyback off of that and verify or establish, are they adventurers? Are they mercenaries? Are they merchants? Where are their strengths?
Oh, we are. I think you would. Well, I think yeah, you would just notice that they seem like a more of an adventuring group, and that you don't get the sense that they want to stay here forever. That they didn't know what to do. Like when they found this too good to be true kind of thing going on, they just hung around because it was comfortable. But you get the sense that they're more of the adventuring type, and I think also it might dawn on you that they would be possibly interested in working at your fort.
Exactly. That is where I was trying to go. Now that Oleg has returned, will you be looking for somewhere else to possibly rest your cloak?
We are always open to new opportunity. Now that this way is changed, we will change direction as well. Do you have
As
opportunity?
we've said, Stag Lord has been defeated. We are in possession of Fort. We have left Fort Sorrenco to return Oleg to his trading post. Plan to return there. We will need able-bodied individuals to support it and sustain it. Defend it from those who claim it otherwise. Aid that should be coming from Brevoy, representatives from other that are trying to assist us, claiming it there for such. Adventurers capable of taking down a Tatzleworm and provide a decent meal for it wouldn't be amiss.
It sounds like a great chance for us to move on and give Oleg his home back. We would.
I am very glad we could resolve this without bloodshed. It would have been a pity to have to send you to meet the Stag Lord. And he says with a smile, but also a little bit of
Yeah, I think that I like it. I think that maybe diplomacy here for trying to recruit them to see if you can get them to commit to going to the fort. Given, and maybe they might be curious to know what might go along with this is what benefit this will have for them beyond the fact that it resolves this matter. Like maybe what would you promise them in the future, or what do you envision for them as a result of them helping you with this?
yeah. Once we get some repairs on the fort and we can make it a bit more palatable for those who aren't just bandits, a place to return and a base to work out of, somewhere that you know you can return, establish trading or arrangements with others to have a place where you could deliver a Tatzleworm, receive some steady meal, and call home.
Your base of operations. There.
And you've already started a good relationship with Oleg by making sure his posts remained active and in good condition. So I'm sure Oleg will be happy to make concessions on your needs.
I think that this arrangement we would be very interested in, and we will actually be leaving in the morning.
All right.
For our travel will take some time by foot, but we will head to the fort. We will assume command of the fort until your return, and then we will.
You can take our cart full of all these weapons that we've pulled off of dead people.
That is actually what they seem to be asking about too, is that you give them permission to recruit people into the cause, knowing that they're in charge, right? These four, and I'll give you the names of these guys. So this one in the green is the one who seems to be the leader of their group, and his name is Vitali.
Polly?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a Valerie? And a Griff?
Valerie, Amiri, and Griff is the one who is saying that I will assume command. He seems more like a soldier to you. I think he gets the sense that you're giving him the fort to secure, and you could see his sense of duty light up, where the other ones are probably more of the that have some varying interests. They're probably not as much of a soldier as he is, but he's
Right.
like their natural leader in that sense. So he, I think, is the one that you might be gearing this towards, and I think that you get a sense of trust with him, that he's competent as a soldier and organizing a watch and doing some of the basics that you would need.
And try to make very clear that this is the early stages of an operation, and that we are open to discussions further, advancements or additional duties as desired, or compensation is available. We do need trustworthy individuals. Leave this to, especially.
Yeah, I think with the diplomacy that you've had, if anyone else is pouring it on here and trying to aid, you could feel free to do that if you wanted to make your own checks just to see if it's able to help in any way. But I think you notice a little bit that they admire you guys. They see what you've accomplished, and they sense that this is a really good opportunity for them because you don't have numbers, and neither do they. Working together seems like something that they would be interested in, but knowing that they're going to see you again at some point and be able to then maybe get a bigger and better share or interest in your growing kingdom. But absolutely, they start to really buy into the kingdom that you describe and the opportunity that they'll have to really grow with you all. Yeah, I think the meal sits well for those that tried it, and I think you're all feeling again happy to be off the road after hustling as well this whole day and getting here probably thinking you were headed into a confrontation, and now instead sitting in
More allies, which is nice.
Yeah, recruitment instead of combat. That's a
The
win.
pyramid scheme is coming together, gentlemen.
Money, gold hand over fist over here.
Yeah,
Recruit some and send us a few gold pieces for every person you recruit.
It's an application fee. There's an application fee.
Yeah, I think that if you are giving them, so what are you guys giving them in terms of supplies? Is that?
Yeah, I've got the party loot all written in. So basically what we'll do is we'll give them all of the extra weaponry and armor that we've been tossing into the cart.
And we can the named stuff, or are you planning on giving them like any of the extra? I don't think all of the magical items.
Oleg will give you guys. He's actually he'll be filling his cart with things. They're gonna need this, and they're gonna need this, and he's piling things into a second cart that he already has out here in the trading post. So he's getting that one ready. Like that's the cart you can load with the things you want to send that direction, and he's contributing a whole bunch of supplies that.
Okay.
So you may want to dedicate your horses to it, obviously, to help them.
Yeah, if I was check with Oleg, are there any horses, any draft animals?
Yeah, unfortunately not. His stable is empty, and that's a part of his relief and concern, but there are no other riding animals here right now.
We're going to be leaving the road to go south. There's no road that way, so I'm thinking the cart's going to be more trouble than it's worth.
No, that's absolutely. But having draft animals would just make it easier as trades or comp. The moment, just make do with what they've got.
Okay.
But yeah, can we leave?
We can give them some money too. Not a whole lot, but we could send some coinage with them
for recruitment and for trading.
I'm moving all these horses into the stables now inside, and the cart is inside, so you guys can load up or provide whatever supplies you want in terms of your party loot.
But I know we've got a lot of trade goods, pelts and furs and various things like that, I believe, through those. Are those things that Oleg trades in, or is he just facilitate the place and people can come through and
No, he absolutely trades in furs and all of that basic mercantile. He has quite a bit of that here, and as people come through, some people trade him those things for a night's stay. So he's got like a little bit of everything, almost more of a general store feel to what he has than anything. So yeah, those would have value to him, those would help him if those are things you wanted to give to him in exchange for the what he's donating to the fort. He seems to be loading you up and loading them up with rations and some other supplies that they're going to need
Because
to
we're gonna
sustain.
need materials if we're gonna try to fix up part of that. So we're gonna need craftsmen. We're gonna need a lot of that stuff. So if we can be greasing wheels with this and giving him supplies and good, he takes a cut of it. We get a little bit of that, and then he puts it towards sending craftsmen or whatever that he knows or like comes upon or whatever. Probably get some from town or the cities as well to get everything, but won't hurt to have more resources.
Yeah, so
Dragging around all of these trade goods aren't going to do us much good if we get an actual place and do it for us.
yeah, he sees it that way. No, he sees it that way. He sees it like also that right now he's going to donate these goods, but that once you've recruited and staffed and manned the forts and other places, you're going to need supplies from someone, and
We
that he
do.
would regularly ship you things.
I'm going through the party loot, and like we've got random stuff that we can just give him to compensate for certain supplies too. So like we've got earrings, and we've got 3
Some
crates
regular
of
rings,
furs
golden
and
buckle.
pelts. We've still got the herbal liquor from that we. So there's still a lot of goods that we can have set up here.
And then,
It's awesome.
yeah, I don't think were we able to take everything from the fort, or is there still some stuff?
No, we left a bunch of stuff in the basement.
There's a lot there. Yeah, as
Yeah.
far as just general goods that you could
So
ship
yeah, I
back
mean,
or
there's going to be
trade.
a long-term
Where that is.
arrangement with them.
Yeah.
But also something Valdarius wants to like amongst the group, like just us, establish, because doing a lot of talking and a lot of deliberating or making like agreements and trades and things, Valdarius came into all of this late. You guys have the charter, and you guys found Valdarius at the cave mines. He's just tagged along with this and started talking in a way that he's an established part of this. But he wants to just clear up with everyone that it's cool that he stays and he's part of this, and now that this whole bit with Tartuccio is getting taken care of, like if they're ways or whatever, because you guys got the charter, original group
Right.
lords, and he's doing a lot of inserting himself into future plans on this.
I think with our charter, we can certainly recruit as well, recruit helpers. Yeah, I would assume that we would welcome Valdarius as a full partner in our endeavor.
Yeah, as a founding member of the charter, I agree to that amendment.
Okay, that's good, because that's just been something that's been
true.
weighing
That's true.
on him there, me, for a bit there with all of it. But
It's
absolutely, he's in, he's dedicated, he wants to see where this can go and what we can make happen in the lands and kind of kingdom we can establish.
it's good.
Work.
I think we'll let council name the leader there, Vitali. We'll counsel him. You're obviously gifted in the art of defense, which we're very glad that we have assigned for you to defend the fort and to make it more defensible. But you may consider that one of your traveling companions may also be gifted in trade or other things, and perhaps they could take that burden from you, so that not just are we getting a defensible fort, but we're getting a rich trade, and that we have good skills being put into it in other ways, not just reinforcing the walls.
Yeah, I see. I think that mention of that would get the attention of Valerie, who you noticed was naturally the one that was helping to organize and maintain some semblance of what Oleg had here. And you get the sense that she would have a pretty good trade knowledge, and she could probably help get that organized. So you see those skills different across this party, which again is why you think that they're a good group together, that they complement one another and they seem to like one another and have that bond. And so you can certainly trust that would be delegated to her, and she could lead that for you, the trade operation. All right. Yeah, I think it's a good moment too for you all to confirm your partnership, the extent of your partnership, to know that you have the same skin in the game at this point, and that you're all committed to the same thing, and now you've made these strategic alliances here, which should benefit you going long term. It's good. It's really good. Yeah, I think then at this point in the evening, maybe it's getting late, and you've all had a few drinks, and you're starting to think about lying down for the evening, when you hear this moaning sound coming from the room nearest you, where earlier you had heard snoring,
Yeah, I
and
was wondering.
several of your newfound alliance look at each other, and they're like, "Oh, he's waking up. He's a little crazy." The one says to you all,
Oh, true.
"Yeah, he says he's seeing beasts in the night flying
Oh,
about.
one
Oh.
thing that.
He's a little mad. I wouldn't engage him too much. He gets very, let's just say, intense." So they all start acting like they're gonna go make camp for the evening and trying to step away from this area, when the door opens here and out emerges this kind of younger man. Looks like a half elf to you, and he comes out of the room, and his eyes are squinted like he's staring into the sun, but the room is pretty dim. And he just comes, emerging out of the room, and he's looking around at all of you, and just doesn't say anything for a moment, and then he goes over to the table and he grabs some of the food, and he just starts pounding the food down like he hasn't eaten in a week, sitting there staring at the fire and chewing on this Tatzleworm leftover.
Yes, please join us.
Yeah, at that point, you also see an older man who comes walking out of that room after him, and he says, "Damn, he slept a long time." And I was stuck in there. And he looks like he's relieved to be out of the room, and so he like walks over and sits down on the other side of this other table, looking fearfully back at the guy who's eating steak here.
Did he trap you in there?
He threatened me if I left that he would kill me. He didn't want to sleep alone.
Oh, yeah, it's triple. Yeah.
Is this because of flying beasts?
Yes, don't say anything to him about that.
There's
And
really.
and so he lifts his head from his food, stops chewing, and he looks in your direction at that when you make that statement. It's the first time he's broken his stare. He says, You laugh at the beasts, but they will have their way."
All right. You want to tell us about the beast?
Valdarius melds in "I'm sorry" to the rest of them. It chews them
Yeah.
away. We know that you
Yeah,
didn't
they're
want
all
this,
like
but
they're all like rolling their eyes and walking off, like some of them are. So
gives a good "we'll handle this."
yeah, I think I'll move a couple out of here. Oleg's sticking around. He's, what the hell is this? And so he's listening in, and the man eventually he sets his food down, and he says, "We were on our 4th day of travel, headed in this direction, when during the night I heard something making some loud noise, and when I followed the sounds onto the clearing, I saw this winged beast, and it turned towards me, and I ran, and when I got back to camp, it followed, and it wiped out my party. As I hid, it flew off finally with one of them. I came here the night it happened."
When was this?
And I think he actually takes a really long time thinking, and maybe one of the people who had been here, the old man, he says, 3 nights ago, he came in here screaming of something.
From where do you come?
Where were you journeying from when you saw him?
We were coming south.
Did you see him after this? Did you see this creature after that night? You said, because I thought I heard you say that he was following you. Did he follow you after taking the lives of your comrades?
I thought I snuck up on him, and I didn't know that he saw me.
Mm.
So when I went back to my camp, he tracked me there. And that was when I was able to hide, but my friends were not, even though I had warned them, none of them survived.
Sad tale.
We have our condolences. Curiosity.
In what manner did this creature attack? Was it claws and fangs? Did it know spells or anything of that nature?
I saw this creature that had 3 heads.
That's a lot of teeth.
I know not what all it was capable of, but murder.
Flying. Okay.
What's your name, friend?
My name is Alaric.
Be assured that we do believe you, even though many others think that you are telling a tale, but we know that it is dangerous. These are dangerous lands. Yeah, you have our sympathies.
Well, thank you. I sense you have seen things they have not seen, and maybe that is enlightenment that you have. And
You old timer, what's your name?
my name is Ori.
You know the young man?
Alaric, I don't know him from you. I just know that he's come in here with a madness and a fear that I've not seen in some time. And if what he says is true, then we should all be careful.
Indeed. Yeah.
Literally.
How much for a good night's sleep?
Just trying to, paint that picture. So
I knew we should have brought that ballista with us.
So it attacks at night.
you do have siege weapons that you could repair here and certainly take a
There's
shot.
these weapons at Oleg's?
Looking at the
Yeah,
tower.
if you look at the towers, there's catapults
Trebuchets
up
and
there.
I think,
Trebuchets.
yeah,
I
catapult.
cannot see towers.
Oh, let's see. Let me see what you're seeing.
Zoom out.
Oh, you might need to, if you drag around, it might fill in the map. And
I'll-
like I'm seeing with the.
I'll move you into all the corners
okay.
of the
All right,
map,
now
so because this would be,
I hadn't been here.
your first tour, right? Who's giving
Right.
Valdarius the tour?
There's a mention of siege weapons. Ooh,
Ooh,
there.
right?
Perked
Who's
right up.
tinker with? To play around with?
To dial in.
Yeah. So here's the So I guess that's really where you're at. Is now that you have this knowledge and everything, you could decide how you want to be, where you want to sleep this evening, and what, if any, precautions you want to take as the others are starting to settle down and step away. And it looks like Alaric is like wide awake now, like he's slept for.
Yeah, good.
And he's just sitting there, just in his daze, but taking in what you've said to him too. That you believe him, so I think he seems calmer than what he's been, and you get the sense that he's calmed down a little bit from your interaction.
If this thing attacks at night, he might have the right idea. Sleep during the daytime.
Yeah, that seems to be what his logic is, and unfortunately for Ori, he was trapped in the room with him. That was a little bit of a hostage situation, but it ended okay. So you guys, how do you want to arrange yourselves, and how do you want to stagger your watch, if any?
Is Alaric going to be keeping watch, or is he?
Alaric would keep watch. He's going to be awake, so he's probably reliable watch for one of your shifts if you want to assign him one.
Let's say Alaric could probably fill one of those. He is awake. He could probably take a dead of night.
Yeah. So
We've got
should we just
kobolds,
give him a
we've got-
fourth shift and keep our shifts in place?
Okay, so it'll be Alaric, and then the same order you did before almost, Valdarius, and then Rekla, and then Fenwarden.
Yeah, we'll make Alaric the last shift, fourth shift. So Valdarius is first.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And Fenwarden, I think we should probably take our watches outside, so on one of the towers.
Can you? Does the bottom side, is there a way to cross over the entryway, or is it like you have to
Yeah.
go the way around?
You mean no? You should be able to cross through here.
Would like from one side to the other, like if you were out patrolling the walls. Able to go.
Oh, on the second floor. Let's see.
Because like it's got the path all the way around, and there are ladders, some ladders that not look.
Like you'd have to go down and walk through the middle and come back
Or
out
just-
again.
Yeah, I think you have to go up the individual towers here. There is a platform up there in that one section though, but that doesn't connect like the whole perimeter of this structure.
This is an open air courtyard, right? So each of these are buildings with roofs.
Oh, yeah.
So surprise, but
oh,
yeah,
that's why.
there is
Howling around the fire.
there's a stable over here.
See, no, that makes a lot more
There's
sense. Now.
storage.
Man, this is a really big trading post. If he's got stables inside the house that he's bringing like
yes.
horses into, like he's doing really well. This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's just a couple of buildings that have a pretty decent defendable wall up, but the siege weaponry is in sort of disrepair. Last time you were here, you fumbled around with it to see if it was operable, and it would take a little bit of crafting and repair to get it functioning. The pieces and parts are here, but they're not operational right now.
That's my bread and butter. That's what I do.
Yep.
I craft things.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get
no,
crafting.
like, specialty crafting and such. That's my jam.
Absolutely. That's a possibility that you could be fiddling with one of these to try to do some repairs with maybe some assistance before your shift or before the full night.
Yeah, no, once I made aware of those things, very interested in going and going around.
What are the three structures in the top of the trading post there?
These covered
Yeah.
areas, they're like holding areas where there's like underneath the ground he's got different materials piled.
Oh, I see. Okay, storage bins.
Storage cellars.
So they lift and it's similar to the crawl area that Svetlana was hiding in, except this one wasn't exposed. It was hidden in the storage room.
Okay.
So just a dirt hole, really. Just a dirt hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's ladders, so you can go up. You can see all the ways up here. So you can definitely get up to this platform and be standing looking over the fort wall or position however you want. But if Valdarius wants to take a shot at trying to potentially, do a quick craft to make one of these weapons somewhat usable, I'd be fine with that to see, if you can make something function in a couple hours here that you would have. Plus, you would have some assistance. Like, you could have the kobolds running. You could be like, grab the metal one like this off of that one and bring it here. And you grab and just having them be your runners so that you could really be sitting there crafting.
Yeah, and I can give you a guidance just to one extra little bonus in case it's needed.
I was to work on one of the two on the lower side by the front
Sure.
gates.
Defend the front door. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we throw a crafting check out?
Yep.
We're gonna go ahead.
We're getting down to time
Yeah.
here.
Hero
so-
point
I'm
time.
thinking it's hero point time. So
There you
Okay.
go. So yeah, you're able to pull the right parts and source everything, figure out what you need to do to get this thing to start to launch. It could probably do a pretty big stone at this point. You think it could fire it pretty far, but it's not fully functioning. Like, it doesn't have its full range, but you feel like you've got at least like 3/4 of its range right now based on what you were able to pull together. So you can roll a D or do 2d4 and you'll be able to have that much ammo that you're able to also source up. So you've got yourself six of these sort of carved rocks that they're using. I guess actually that'd probably be metal, little metal spheres that they've created out of scrap that they're using that are shaped for the catapults. So yeah, which one was it then that you made operational? That one. Okay. All right. Yes. All right.
Rekla is trained in crafting too. Maybe he could simultaneously be working on the one on the other side and see if he can get it functioning at all. He can look over Valdarius, see what he's doing, and be like, all right, I'll do the same thing here.
I've got the message spell, so I can be sending over. Yeah, we could be communicating.
Yeah, I think that would even make it faster because you've got the 3 kobolds running. You got 2 of you who could be taking apart and asking them to deliver and grab this, that, and the other thing, so you don't have to
Hey,
waste
yeah,
your
my
time.
this is broken. What do you have? You got one of those? Oh, okay, yeah, we can. If they're
Yeah.
running over to the other side, I need this metal piece from the one back there. Salvage off of one of those and just see what we
Yeah.
can cobble together. Part.
So sure, Rekla, go ahead and see.
I'll give Rekla
Oh,
my
my.
initiative guidance. Even better.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, crit success on crafting. So you get yours working, you think, within 100% of spec. You're like, this thing could fire like day one right now. It's
Yeah.
ready to go. Somehow you lucked out and got all the really good
Mine
parts.
wasn't in as bad a shape, yeah.
You know, I got the right part to really make this one shoot its full distance, but they're both functional, and they weren't a couple hours ago, so you both have
Hey.
made it better. And
Awesome.
how do you want to, are you just going to do 3 and 3, have 3 bullets or 3 ammo on each?
well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right. And then, all right, we'll do your watch then to see what happens here. All right. What are you doing during your watch? Just what's your procedure when you're on watch? What will you be? And for everyone else, where are you sleeping?
Chris will be going along with her back, going from point to point, walking through the lower section, checking on side, looking out, having shadow.
Okay.
Set up his bedroll over in this area, so he's close to that ladder if he needs to get up to the wall.
Mm.
Close to the fire, so if he needs to be near there.
Okay, you can put yourself wherever you're gonna be then. And Vitali. So some of these guys are going to sleep. Griff is gonna go in here to sleep. I think the old man and Alaric are gonna hang by the fire. And where is Fenwarden sleeping? There's beds available in here. You could make a bedroll or put a bedroll anywhere else you want to put it, or use the stable or the storage room if you want.
I think he will actually just put a bedroll in the wagon there. He wants to stay near the front doors, and those are ladder. Oh, there's not a ladder on that side. Yeah, he'll stay behind this. He'll use his bedroll and stay over here behind this.
There's
Okay.
a ladder right there.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, we need to add one right there.
When he's on watch, he's gonna be on watch with Drithin, and they'll be on opposing corners of the fort.
Okay, so you guys are each taking Kobold then to be on your
Yeah.
watch and basically in your vicinity now, right? Okay, so everybody's got theirs. All right, Vitali, I think he's gonna be sleeping in here. Okay. All right, Valdarius, your watch goes by. It's still early in the evening, and nothing catches your attention other than the fact that there seems to be a full moon this evening, so the visibility is pretty good. And if you go up on any of the platforms or you look out from any of the towers, you can see pretty far right now. It feels well illuminated from the moonlight, but yet nothing happens, and you're able to come down and get Rekla's attention and then get yourself some rest.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take my rest over in the stable section. Hay and stuff over there, set up a bedroll in there. Shelter, but still able to get where I be.
Okay, and then Rekla, during your watch, where are you gonna be patrolling?
I'll just be doing laps, I think, on that second level, just back and forth. Maybe every once in a while, I might walk through the center of the trading post from ladder to ladder.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check, please. And then make one for your kobold, too, if you don't mind. And those are a little different, but okay, there you go. So you're at one point maybe coming up the ladder, and you're not quite at the height you needed to be to notice something. And Kobold, which one is the one with you? Is it
Kurth.
Kurth? Kurth, when you get to the top of the steps, he's like patting you on your shoulder and pointing into the air, and you look over in this direction up here, and in the sky, the silhouette against the moon of this flying creature that appears to have 3 heads on it.
Probably what.
Yeah, yeah.
How many of those are going around these days?
If you, let's see, so like I said, you didn't get a great look at it, so you don't know much yet except for this shape that you saw briefly, and it seems like it's swirling up in the sky right now, and so it's got your attention.
Dang, I don't speak Draconic, so I can't really give him. I
I'll
could
say,
maybe
I'll say that
try to
they
mime
would know like commands at
basic
this point.
gestures and stuff.
So depending
I'm
on what
gonna
you're trying
tell
to
him.
communicate.
I'm gonna get him to go wake the others. Go wake everybody.
Yeah, set off the alarm. So the procedure, and there's a bell in the courtyard right by this here that hangs, that everybody knows. And so when people come in, a lot of the times they're ringing the bell when they walk by it, or they're like, hey, see you later, Oleg, and they'll ring the bell. And I think that's what you're motioning, just go ring the bell, because we need everyone on deck. So he would take off with that instruction and start down there to do that. I'll move him down, and that's when where do you want to position yourself to try to get a better view of this thing?
I'll probably take up one of these. I'll probably end up coming down here just because I see that they've got some steps, so it's got to be the highest point.
Yeah, so those are, but all these towers give you a little bit of a better view for this thing. So go ahead and I'll have you roll another perception check. You have a hero point.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Which,
Perfect time to use it. Hero point.
It's much better.
Much better. Much better.
Drastically improved.
Okay, so yeah, so as you're standing there and looking up, this thing takes a turn and kind of swings back in your direction, and it's just this perfect lighting for you to suddenly get a view of it and see what it is that is approaching.
That's not cool, man.
And
that's the hideous beast that is in the sky, and that's where we'll pause this session, and we'll pick up next session and see what happens.
Why am I most scared by the goat head?
I know, right? Like, why are you there? What could you possibly... Oh, no! What secret do you have? I don't know, goat. But we're going to find out probably. I don't know, maybe. We'll see what happens. But this has been confirmed. The sighting has been confirmed, and the bell is being rung as we speak. Well, if you guys want to go ahead and actually roll initiative so that we have that turn order already set, that might be good. Then I'll know what's going to go down.
Yeah, I'll get my kobold too.
See, did Rekla's go twice? There we go. Yeah, you can roll your kobolds too. And I'll get these others in the order. Yep. Even Oleg gets a turn.
Everybody better be here in 2 weeks.
Okay. Alright, we got turn orders entered. You guys actually, a bunch of you got the same thing. So it looks like Fenwarden will probably be the first one to jump out of bed and get ready. But I'll leave it like this, and I'll tee it up for next time. And yeah, hopefully Ben is here. Hopefully everyone's here, because you'll probably need all the help you can get.
Yeah.
Cool. But hey, best idea though, getting the catapults going. Smart move.
That was smart.
Glad we did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge factor here. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Hit him with some interesting damage, isn't it?
Yeah, we could also find some improvised missiles that could make things more fun too.
We're gonna want Dalek, because we're gonna want him just going up there. just lopping off a head.
Just launched out.
That's what I was gonna
Launched
say.
out
We
at
just
the
launch him straight
That's a
at
great
it.
idea. Sit here for a minute. Yeah, let me
Yeah, why
pull
don't you just
this.
take right here.
That'd be hilarious watching him fly through the air.
What's the
Oh,
over/under on the number of heads he's going to chop off?
Yeah. We want to see.
yep. And there's another guy who was interested in joining who may or may not be able to join us too, so that he'd be welcome and I could plug him in very easily in this scene. It'd be very easy to
Yeah.
have him here. So
Slooping.
yeah, if that happens, that would be another nice bump. But if we have all four of you, I think too that'll be epic. So
For sure. That was a fun session.
Very nice.
yeah, thanks guys. I had fun. That was good.
Everyone,
See you guys.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right.
All right,
good one.
take it easy. Bye.